Good morning. Welcome to the TCPalm Editorial Board meeting to interview candidates for St. Lucie County Commissioner, District 3. I'm Larry Reisman, columnist and community editor, and I'm joined by fellow editorial board members Adam Neal, our editor and news director, Gil Smart, our columnist. I'll lead the questioning and open it up to other editorial board members at the end. Kelly Rogers is on the call as well, and she'll direct the video coverage. And if we get questions from social media audience, she might decide to pose one or two at the end of the session. Thanks to our candidates, Chris Thompson and Linda Bartz, for streamlining this process by completing questionnaires ahead of time. Board members have reviewed them, and they can be found at tcpalm.com/elections, along with other stories, videos, and information about the November 3rd election. At the conclusion of this interview, editorial members will discuss possibly writing an editorial to recommend a candidate in this race. We've got several questions for the candidates today, and we might end up having more of a conversation than just a simple Q&A. Our goal is to be completed in 45 minutes. Because of our time constraints, we ask that each of you keep your comments concise. Just like when you're on the dais, you'll have to determine what concise means and be respectful of others. We'll start the questioning with Linda. First question. In 2019, Florida Tax Watch said St. Lucie County had the highest average property tax millage rate in the state at 22.8 mils. Contrast that with neighboring Indian River County, which ranked 52nd at 15.4 mils. Please explain the county's budget challenges. What, if anything, would be on your list of items to cut?
Thank you for that question. First of all, there is a report from Florida Tax Watch that has not been portrayed in the whole document. As we review that, we were actually 18th out of 67th. What we're not looking at is the fact that we are only in control of 6 line items for the millage rate. I would love to see us lower. However, I think that we are working on bringing that millage down and being responsible with the funding that we are getting from our constituents and from our taxes.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tragedy, or a tragedy, excuse me, that we have the highest millage rate. It's true, we do. It's been acknowledged by members of the county commission. And why is that? So if you look at Linda's record, right, when she was on the Port St. Lucie City Council, taxes went up 52%. All right, she's known for doing these cynical election year de minimis tax reductions to somehow say that she likes lowering taxes. It says it on her bio page for the Board of County Commissions, but she's never reduced taxes once while being on the county commission. One of the reasons we have the highest tax rate is because of the history of, well, I should say the poor legacy of reckless spending within the county. So another thing that Linda's experience shows, she voted for the boondoggles and tradition. So digital domain, VGTI, Torrey Pines, these financial disasters that cost Port St. Lucie close to $1 billion in debt, almost bankrupted the city. Unfortunately, this wasn't a one-off. It wasn't just because of the financial crisis, because now Linda went and doubled down with the city of Fort Pierce, soon to be disaster in the making. So again, I think that we can definitely lower our taxes. It's not going to be Armageddon, because as you just stated, Martin County is 40% lower than us. Okay, Palm City, excuse me, Martin County is 25% lower than us. We can do better. And the craziest part about it is that both of those counties are much wealthier counties. For instance, Martin County is the second wealthiest county in the state of Florida after Monroe. We're about middle. We're about middle of the road as far as income levels. I think we're one slot below the median. And despite those counties being wealthier counties, they actually spend less. Okay, they spend less as per capita. So I believe their spending is around $2,000 per person for their budget. If you divide their budget by the number of citizens, we spend about 10% more than that. Okay, so we have a spending problem, number one, and we have a tax problem. Okay, now. And I apologize. How much time do I have to answer this question? Because I could go on all day, but was there a time limit on it? No. Okay. The problem with the tax rate is that having the highest tax rate in the state of Florida is impeding growth. Okay. Who's it impeding for? Well, right. If you want to grow your tax base or grow the revenue for the county, the best way to do that is to bring high income earners or high value homes into the county. Okay. The problem is that property taxes disproportionately affects higher priced homes. So and why is that? The reason for that is because you get a homestead exemption. So for instance, a $100,000 house, if half of its value is exempt, it's only paying taxes on 50% of the house. Whereas a $500,000 house, if it gets the $50,000 exemption, only 10% of the house is exempt. And so it's paying a much higher portion of its home value in taxes. But the problem is if you want to increase that tax base without having to soak everyone, then you got to bring those high value homes in. The reason for that, think of it this way. If you bring one $500,000 house and five $100,000 houses, the tax revenue from the $500,000 house will be $450,000 of tax value, whereas the five $100,000 houses would only be $250,000. $450,000 taxable versus $250,000. Okay. The problem is with our high tax rate, we're scaring away those bigger tax earners. So we're in somewhat of a downward spiral that we're scaring off the people we want, and then because we're saying we're not getting the revenue we want, we're keeping the tax rate the highest in the county, or even raising them in some cases over the last few years. The last thing I'll say is this: is that if we want to get these taxes down, we have to put people in that actually do lower taxes. There's an accountability problem in this county. When leaders do awful decisions like digital domain, like VGTI, like Torrey Pines, if we keep reelecting them, we enable those bad decisions. So the three parts of my platform are taxes, lowering our tax rate, getting us more competitive, lowering our spending, and I'll say this about spending as well. One of the best way to attract these higher value earners is to get out of this rut of having being in the bottom third for school districts. Okay, Martin County and Indian River, like I said, they spend roughly $2,000 of their budgets on taxes, or excuse me, on per capita on spending, but about $700 out of that $2,000 they spend on education. Of our $2,200, we spend only about $500 on education. We should be lowering our spending dramatically while boosting education. All those things combined with lower taxes should make us a more desirable place and broaden that tax base. So thank you.
Respond to any of that?
Absolutely, Larry. First of all, when we did things like Torrey Pines, VGTI, as you know, it was a much, much different time. We had the state, we had the Department of Economic Opportunity, and we, of course, had the city of Port St. Lucie vetting those projects. So we made decisions on the facts as they were. Nobody expected that we were going to hit a recession that was so deep and so long. And the biosciences stopped getting their funding. So those projects were really in a tough area. If we hadn't gone through that, I believe that those things would have all been successful. However, I also think that we set the foundation for what's happening now in Port St. Lucie. We all worked hard on that. We were all five of us worked to bring those things about, and it happened. I have been through that myself, and there was the opportunity at the time. I mean, we had the governors here. We had Jeb Bush, and we had Charlie Crist coming in. And again, those projects were all vetted. Nobody knew what the economy was going to do. So again, now we see Cleveland Clinic. We see Cleveland Clinic for Innovation and Research. We see Southern Groves developing. And I believe that we are part of that, and we help set those foundations.
Thanks, Linda. Okay, we're going to go to Chris on the next question, the second question. We're about 14 minutes in. So, Chris, what metrics have you used or will you use to determine whether you are making progress with regard to the Indian River Lagoon? What have you personally done the past year to contribute to its health? Chris, I think you're muted.
I thought that was being controlled. Okay. As far as the water issues, obviously huge issues for our community, especially with the algal blooms that we've had in the past. I'm in the same boat as far as I support all the policies of Toby Oberdorf and Brian Mapp pushing forth as far as we have to do more. I don't think that any kind of spending you put towards environment issues is money badly spent. We have one of the most beautiful waterways here. As far as I know, the St. Lucie River is one of the most biodiverse estuaries in North America. You know, keeping our waterways safe and clean and environmentally sound is probably one of the best investments that we can make. So like I said, I support all the policies put forth that Brian Mass supports. We just had Donald Trump in Jupiter yesterday, putting more money towards environmental resources. So yeah, I support the same policies of Toby Oberdorf and Brian Mass. So thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Linda?
So not only do I support and hope to make them all accountable, one of the things we are doing right now is working on a plan to move the plant from North Island into the county at somewhere. We have been working hard with FPUA. We have been setting up meetings. I think that will alleviate one of the biggest dangers that we have to our river and estuaries. So it is a project that we continue to work on. We listen to the scientists, and that's how we make our decisions.
Okay, thank you. Linda, what is your opinion of how Director has performed at the port? How do you envision this working out? When will we see a full mega yacht facility?
So Director was chosen in a very transparent process. And so far, they have lived up to their part of the contract. They have just paid on September 1st as part of their contract, the $98,000 that they were supposed to pay. They are doing pilot testings now. Unfortunately, the building that had to come down took a little bit longer than what we anticipated because there was asbestos in it. So that had to be done and done safely. So I see them coming along, honoring the contract. They have issues with the Army Corps of Engineers. So that, and we all know what that can take. All you have to do is look at Port St. Lucie and Crosstown Parkway and that bridge. So it took quite a while to get the Army Corps to do that. They, like I said, they are living up to their contract. They have started their building of equipment. Unfortunately, they are building that equipment in Italy. We know that the pandemic hit Italy very, very hard, which held up some of that. However, it is on its way, and I believe that as soon as that happens, the further permits, which can't even happen until Army Corps, will be pulled, and the work will come across very quickly. So it is not an overnight process, which is why we did a 30-year lease. And again, we all know that these things don't happen overnight.
Thanks, Linda. Chris?
Thank you. So I mean, this isn't kind of what we saw from past projects, right? The ones we just talked about in tradition, with projects that my opponent has voted for. It seems like we're always in a constant state of or a perpetual state of anticipation, right? The jobs will come, the fruits of the investment will come, and they never do. They never seem to materialize. So, for instance, director, they promised us all these jobs and all this frenetic activity in the area, and that still hasn't happened. Yes, they made those payments. I used to do quite a bit of contract litigation, contract writing as an attorney, and I can tell you that that contract that was given to director was probably one of the most one-sided contracts I've ever seen. I mean, it was almost, put it this way, the taxpayers got really ripped off by that contract with director. It's so one-sided in all the requirements put on the county and all the exceptions given to director that any unbiased attorney would have said this is garbage, or especially an attorney that's biased in favor of the citizens of this county. So yeah, none of the jobs have anticipated. Same thing with my opponent brought up that finally this biosector is somehow materializing tradition. We gave Cleveland Clinic the building for $1 a year. Okay, no one would have ever approved that from the beginning. The reason we gave it to 10 years ago when it was built, the only reason we did that now is to avoid the $2 million we were wasting on maintenance fees. So no, but I think this goes to a larger issue. Okay, and this is a fundamental difference between myself and Linda Bartz, and these are policy stances. Do you believe that government should be in the position of choosing winners and losers, or do you think that government's responsibility is to create an atmosphere for business to grow without being discriminatory and picking winners and losers? I'm of the idea that lowering taxes, getting rid of onerous regulations, and creating an environment where citizens and businesses want to move to is the best way to attract business. My opponent believes that she knows better than the citizens and that she should be the one pulling the levers on what business comes and goes in this county. For instance, we got Amazon. We got one of the big. No, excuse me. Mine are the second. I think Amazon's the second biggest big company in the world after Apple, or at least Bezos is the richest man in the world. We got Amazon to come to St. Lucie County with almost, without having to give these same awful subsidies and financial guarantees that we gave to the boondoggles in tradition. So yeah, when with very little input, while my opponent wants to take credit for it, she had almost zero impact on the Amazon coming to the county. So yeah, no, I think these are fundamental differences, policy differences between myself and my opponent, and those aren't the kind of things that just end over by re-electing and enabling bad decisions. You have to get some kind of change here, and that's what I'm hoping to bring to the citizens of St. Lucie County. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We'll start the next question with you. The villages of Indrio would turn 834 acres of a former citrus grove into about 2,700 homes, according to a development application. There will be more large projects. How, as a commissioner, will you hold developers accountable for what they want to do? How will you ensure our quality of life is preserved?
So I'm pro-growth, but I'm also for sustainable growth. So for instance, we had tremendous growth in the 2000s before the recession. We also got neighborhoods in Port St. Lucie that have no sidewalks, right? I think that we should welcome investment, but there are some minimum requirements that we put on those developers. Like I said, I think if you want more services and want to grow the tax base, you want to attract more homes. And why are new homes such a good thing for that tax base? Because a lot of the people that currently live in Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce, their valuations on their homes got readjusted after the financial crisis, and because of the same Save Our Home cap, their valuations only increase incrementally, a small amount. I think it's 3%, right, every single year. New homes, they start right out at the market price, so you're getting maximum tax revenue from those kinds of homes. So many people, and kudos to them. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but many residents of Port St. Lucie are paying tax or have tax valuations or tax appreciations much below the market value, and I'm fine with that. But if you want to capture greater tax revenue, we have to attract new homes to the community, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah, but again, it has to be done in a sustainable way. So we need better schools. We increase education. With that increase in citizenry, we can really get off to a fresh start as far as some new good technologically advanced schools. I'm all for charter schools. Our charter elementary schools are some of the best in the county. My kids have got got on the lottery into Palm Point, and they're getting a phenomenal education. I think niche.com said Palm Point is the #8 best elementary school in the state of Florida. So we can attract really good schools with those new developments. But again, I think requiring sidewalks might not be a bad thing. Maybe requiring city water, or excuse me, not septic systems, but city water or government water services is something that we could ask in advance. But yeah, I'm definitely for more growth, but in a way that has the minimal requirements that communities in the rest of Florida typically have. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Linda?
Okay, I just want to address one thing before I go further, and that is the comment about Cleveland Clinic for Innovation and Research. I was not on the council when they made that decision. I do know that they were paying to maintain that building. It is a specialty building. So I just wanted to address that. Now, the growth in the county, we make the developer do their sidewalks, do their utilities, we make sure that there are walking paths, trails, the environment. So we make them do that. It is one of our requirements, and those include parks. And we make them typically, depending on where they are, put in fire stations. So I think that we are doing the best we can with that. I would also say that we're talking about schools. We have no control over the schools. It is a separate, a separate line item on your trim notice. I have no control over the values of the homes. That is set by the property appraiser. And they do an extensive process in order to get out there and check what the houses are valued at, whether they are new or whether they are old when they go on the tax roll. So again, we are not necessarily talking about things that the county has control over. What we do, we make sure and we hold those people accountable.
I got to unmute myself there. Thanks, Linda. First question for you. This is could be a very quick question. Can you please name the 3 greatest road or transportation needs in St. Lucie County?
We are working on a exit from the turnpike onto Midway Road. That is going to be very important. We are working with the city of Port St. Lucie to work on the area of Peacock. We are working with the city of Port St. Lucie to better Floresta so that there will be more access. I instituted some time ago a town hall with the neighbors there who had come to me to make sure that they were satisfied and for them to give their input on how they would like the access there. So there is a lot that we've done. Port St. Lucie Boulevard South has been a failed road as long as I've known, from when we were working on Crosstown, which was one of the issues. At that time, Prima Vista, which I think we've done a great job on, and Port St. Lucie Boulevard were both failed roads, which is why we needed another east-west expressway. So I think there is many to be worked on. I'm thrilled that the residents voted for the half-cent sales tax. We have a list. We answered to a advisory board with accountability to them so that they are aware of what we are doing and they are making us accountable. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Chris, can you name or can you give us an indication of what you think are the 3 most critical, the 3 greatest road or transportation needs in St. Lucie County?
Yes, sir. Midway was mentioned. Obviously, that's probably the number 1 in our county right now, but they are doing the construction on that, so that's good. I would also say Edwards Road definitely needs some improvements, and this isn't one particular road, but on the north part of the county, a lot of these roads up near the airport have tons of potholes, cracks in them. I think those could get some improvements for the citizens up there as well. And then there's one thing, and I believe it's on the purview of City of Fort Pierce, but there's one thing that Donna Benson is running on, that Orange Avenue, the main artery that goes into downtown Fort Pierce, could be improved, because right now the first impression that visitors see when they come off the 95 going to the City of Fort Pierce is not the best that St. Lucie County wants to portray. It's run down. The roads are bad. I think we could do more to improve the first impression for people coming in into Fort Pierce. So, thanks.
Thanks, Chris. We'll start with you on this. As a commissioner amid the COVID-19 pandemic, at what point would you be prepared to pass a mandatory face mask ordinance? or would passing one be out of the question?
So I'm not for mandates. I'm not for the nanny state in general. So I would be against passing a mandate. Now, am I against people wearing masks? No, not at all. If people want to wear masks, more power to them. I would still be wearing masks most of the time in public, you know, if I can't socially distance, obviously, even without a mandate. But I also believe that we're adults here and that we can make decisions for ourselves without having the government tell us what to do. So I would be against mask mandates. That being said, how effective have the mandates been? There's plenty of evidence to show that they've been minimal to no effect. If you compare us, we've tracked with Indian River almost the same, you know, parallel in track cases, and they did not use mask mandates, and we did, and the differences have been almost non-existent. So I don't find that mask mandates necessarily make a difference, but they also tick off a lot of citizens, and it's a suppression of our freedoms, specifically privacy rights. Now, that being said, we do have a mask mandate in effect, and in multiple venues, including on my own campaign page, we pointed out that my opponent, while she voted to require all citizens to have masks, she herself in many public settings doesn't wear them herself. Okay, so I think that if we are having a mask mandate, we as leaders should set the example for that, and not take the path of Nancy Pelosi and you know, only wear them when the cameras are rolling. So yeah, that's my position on mask mandates. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Linda?
So we initially urged the public to wear masks. That wasn't working. I can tell you that I went into many businesses that were quite concerned about residents coming in without a mask, even though that the businesses were wearing masks. So I will start with, yes, we urged them. However, it wasn't happening. We went to a mandate. Actually, our county administrator started the mandate. We changed it because we didn't want the penalties to be criminal. We wanted them to be civil. So since then, we continue to see our numbers go down. And that's the most important thing. Now I hate to address again that I was at an event, I was having breakfast. As I got up, I failed to put my mask back on when I was stopped by a resident. I was wearing it when I went in. I wore it going out. So my opponent would like to say that I don't wear masks, but I do believe I am an example. And I will tell you that I wear masks because I have a high-risk family. So again, I've been through all that. I have responded to that, and I do wear masks.
Thanks, Linda. We'll start the next question with you, which is, please give an example of an ethical dilemma you might have faced at some point in your life. How did you decide what to do?
So I've always had to make tough decisions. As you know, I had 35-year banking history, had ethical questions come up. I am very, very careful when I make those decisions. When I was with the city of Port St. Lucie, you may remember that we had an ethics issue that was investigated by the state attorney's office. I'm proud to say I was never involved in that at all, because I know what sunshine law is. I know what ethics are. I live by that. And I will tell you that my children live by that because I just don't tolerate. And they will tell you that the two things I don't tolerate is lying and stealing. So I've been in those situations. I had a situation at the bank where I had a young lady on vacation. And unfortunately for her, I found out that she was borrowing money from customers. She was a well-loved employee. She was even well-loved by me. And I had that ethical question as to what I do. And I ended up doing what I believed was the right thing and went to upper management and had to tell them the situation. Hard decision. It was investigated for a while. And unfortunately, that young lady lost her job. But I will tell you that as long ago as that was, she still considers me a friend today because she knows that what I did was the right thing and she had done something wrong.
Thanks, Linda. Chris, would you like to respond to that? Please give an example of an ethical dilemma you might have faced at some point in your life, and how did you decide what to do?
So I'm an attorney by trade, and attorneys is probably one of the most regulated professions when it comes to ethics. We have a whole professional rules of professional responsibility, and we can lose our license to practice based on that. I have 3 licenses: New York, Florida, and the state of North Dakota as well. So my life is constantly governed by ethics. One of those is one of the highest ethical responsibilities is use of client funds. So trust accounts, things like that, when you hold retainers for clients. And misuse or inappropriate use of trust accounts can get you barred or disbarred for a very long time. So for instance, my stewardship over the client's money is of the utmost importance. I'm going to take that in my work on the county commission. If put it this way, right now we don't have an attorney fighting for the people of St. Lucie County. We have a county attorney who protects the members of the board and the county employees. I'm going to be an attorney for the people of St. Lucie County. I'm not going to enter into any kind of agreement or support agreements that are not in the best interest of the people of St. Lucie County. The first principle that you learn in the legal ethics class is zealous representation. What does that mean? That means I will do everything in the best interest of the people of St. Lucie County that is legally allowed. Okay, I will not cross any illegal boundaries, but I will do to the as far as I can go in the interest of the people of St. Lucie County. What I wouldn't do is one thing that my opponent has done, which is take money from waste management companies. Okay, they offered checks to Zadofsky, Linda, Kathy Townsend. Kathy Townsend turned it down, but the 2 Democrats that are running for re-election accepted that. That's a conflict of interest. Okay, if you're writing the contracts or agreeing to the contracts for the county, you should not be accepting checks or lobbying checks from the same groups. I wouldn't do that. I'm trying to think. I've had multiple ethical issues within my practice, but because of client confidentiality, I can't really go into details. But I'll say more broadly. Typically, the challenges I do face are if I screw up, I can try to brush it under the rug or try to act like nothing happened, or can I be upfront and honest with the client, even though the client might report me to the bar or might sue me for malpractice. I've always taken the position that truth and honesty with your clients, and in this case with the people of St. Lucie County, is the best way to go. You can't hide the truth very long without it coming out. And my ethical background comes from my morality in general comes from studying the Holy Scriptures. So I served as a 2-year missionary in the Philippines when I was younger. I speak fluent Filipino. And I study the scriptures every day with my kids. So my ethics and my morality comes from reading the scriptures and Judeo-Christian morality. So thanks.
Thank you, Chris. We'll just give you this. We'll have this last question, and then I'll ask you to sum up later. Last question for me is, what is your vision for the airport by 2024? Will it be the hub for passenger service on the Treasure Coast?
Sorry, I'm up right now. It's me. That question for me. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think the airport is a priority right now. I'm trying to reduce taxes, and so I don't see that as a priority. Again, I think we need to reduce spending at this point. To be perfectly honest, I don't see St. Lucie County being a hub for international travel anytime soon. West Palm Beach isn't that far away. A lot of people go even to Fort Lauderdale, Miami, or Orlando. It may eventually be something kind of like Vero Beach, where you might have one or two airlines, but it's not at this point. I think if you can get a public-private partnership where the private company puts in much vastly greater amounts than the government, maybe I would consider that. But at this point, I'm not interested in pouring more money into these just boondoggles, these financial, money pits that our governments keep pouring money into. Like I said, I'm trying to reduce taxes dramatically, and so the airport is not a priority for me. So thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Linda?
So we're in the process of building a brand new hangar. It is very large, and we already have renters going in there. Most of our hangars are already filled. So there is a process. The airport has come along a long way just in the last 4 years. We have talked about having commercial flights in there. It is still being looked at. We watched what happened in Vero, Elite Airlines, but we have an airport director who has directed other airports in the state locally. And so we will continue to look at that closely and make sure that it is a benefit to our citizens and the county. Yes, he's right. Palm Beach is very close. Fort Lauderdale is not far away. However, there is a need to have somebody here. We've had an airline in here a few years ago that were doing flights to Tallahassee and locally. So I think there is that possibility. I am not sure that it'll be 2024, but we are still focused on both the airport and the port.
Thanks, Linda. And we've gotten sort of to the end of our program here. So we would appreciate it if there's something that you and your opponent, we'll start with Linda, would like to tell us about, something we missed, something that to sum things up. We'll go with you, Linda, first.
Okay. Let's start with what he calls the boondoggles of what I've done. I'm not sure that he understands how government works. None of those things did I do alone. And again, everything has been vetted. Everything is transparent. And I think that, again, we hit the worst recession that we've ever seen. We have turned around what we are looking at in businesses. We have businesses coming in. We have expanded Pursuit, Maverick Boats, A1 Trust, as well as Tamco and others. So again, I think that, can we do better? Yes. Will we do better? Yes. So again, I think that the county has made great strides. over the last 4 years, and I would like to be a part of continuing those strides. So I'm excited, and I would hope for the vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Chris?
So one question I get a lot is, why am I running? The reason I'm running is the way that I got into politics. I got in contact with some of the Mark Gotts and Anthony Bono within the county. Every day I drive my kids to Palm Point for school, and I go to the gym at LA Fitness over there in Tradition. And every day, you can ask my wife, she almost got tired of hearing it. I look over, we pass Digital Domain, and every day I almost cringe every time I see it. Well, now it's the Christian Fellowship, but I say that's why we have some of the highest taxes, okay? Because of these horrible disasters. Now, is it turning around? I think you could say that. It's debatable. It's better. I'll say that it's better than it was. I don't know if it's being done the best way possible, but if there's any comeback coming around or turnaround happening in Tradition, it's in spite of Linda Bartz, not because of her. She hasn't been on the city council while that turnaround's been happening. So, yeah, the reason I'm running is because there has been poor management in this county for far too long. We have a legacy of reckless spending, okay? And I see it happening again with the Port of Fort Pierce. We have to hold our leaders accountable. If we don't, there's the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, shame on me, okay? If we don't hold our leaders accountable, then we are enabling their bad decisions, okay? My opponent has a legacy of bad and failed decisions. Taxes, while she was on the board of St. Lucie City Council, went up 52%. She has on her bio page of the Board of County Commissioners that she will work hard to lower taxes. Never did it, okay? She does have a legacy of doing cynical election year de minimis reductions. She did it after her first term in the City Council and the last year of her second term. But all in all, taxes went up 52% while she was on the City Council. So we have a legacy of high taxes. I don't even want to be the second highest county or highest millage rate in the state. I don't want to be third. I want to get dramatically down. Okay. Now, people are asking me, well, what's going to happen? Is it going to be Armageddon financially? No. Poor St. Lucie has done huge reductions in taxes from their highs of several years ago. And I don't see any huge problem. Since 2014, I think taxes at the general operating millage has gone up quite dramatically as well. I want to say it was like 25-30%. I could be off, but it's in that range. Do you see huge increases in our quality of life over the last 5 years? I think jobs have gotten better, but if we reduce 10%, 5%, 10%. To where it was maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years ago. Is that going to create Armageddon? Probably not. In fact, I believe that if we do lower taxes, again, it'll make our community more desirable, and you'll actually make up for a lot of the lost revenue because of the appreciation in home values, both of new and ones coming on the line and existing homes. So yeah, no, the thing I want people of St. Lucie County to know is that we have a problem of enabling the same bad politicians, okay? If we don't hold them accountable, they'll only continue. It's time for change. I think from the primaries, you saw that there is an appetite for change. Zadofsky, been in politics for one of the longest serving politicians on the county commission, okay? He barely won his primary. There is an interest for change within this community. And I represent that change from some of the poor and failed decisions of the past. And so I hope that the people of St. Lucie County vote for me. I'd just like to finish by thanking TCPalm. You guys have been great. I thought your questions were fair and important questions. I'm a huge fan of Gil Smart. Good to finally meet you. I always look forward to your call. So thanks a lot. Take care, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate your participation. And Linda, you too. Good luck in the race in November, and thanks for stepping forward to do this. We need people like you to come forward to help be our representatives in government. And thanks to everybody that watched. You can learn more about the November elections at tcpalm.com/elections, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.